In a world powered by algorithms and artificial intelligence, have we forgotten the ancient stories that once guided us? Mythos and the Machine, Ancient Stories in a Modern Age explores how timeless myths still shape our technologies, dreams, and digital lives. From Prometheus to Pandora, from ancient oracles to modern AI, these tales are not lost, just transformed. Join us as we uncover the hidden mythologies behind our machines and rediscover the wisdom encoded in the past. Because even in a world of metal and code, the old stories still whisper, and we are still listening. Welcome to Mythos and the Machine. We live in a world shaped by machines. From the smartphones in our hands to the algorithms that curate our realities, technology governs much of how we live, connect, and even dream. Yet beneath the sleek surfaces of our devices lies something ancient, an echo of old stories, of gods and monsters, of creators and destroyers. Our machines may be modern, but the ideas that drive them have mythic roots. This is the heart of Mythos and the Machine, the realization that myth and technology are not enemies, but siblings. Both are products of the human imagination. Both attempt to extend our reach beyond what nature allows. And both, in their own ways, reveal truths about who we are. Prometheus and the Fire of Innovation. Let us begin with one of the most iconic figures of myth, Prometheus. In Greek mythology, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. For this act of defiance, he was punished by Zeus, chained to a rock where an eagle would eat his liver daily, only for it to regenerate overnight. Fire, in this context, is more than literal. It represents technology, knowledge, and power. Prometheus is the mythic archetype of the innovator, the one who dares to challenge divine order to uplift humanity. His story reflects both admiration and warning, a celebration of progress, tempered with the reminder that great gifts often come with great consequences. In the modern age, Prometheus lives on in every inventor who disrupts the status quo. The developers of AI, the engineers of spaceflight, the scientists who manipulate DNA, all carry the Promethean torch. But just like the original Firebringer, they too must reckon with what they unleash. Innovation, unchecked by wisdom, can quickly become its own kind of curse. Pandora, the first interface. If Prometheus gave us fire, Pandora gave us complexity. Often miscast as a cautionary tale about female curiosity, Pandora's myth is actually far more nuanced. She was created by the gods, endowed with gifts. Pandora means all gifted, and given a jar, later mistranslated as a box, that, when opened, released suffering into the world. And yet, at the bottom of the jar remained hope. What is the jar if not the first interface? It was a container of potential, a system filled with unpredictable outcomes. Much like our machines today, designed to be useful, beautiful, and full of promise, they also carry unforeseen consequences: misinformation, surveillance, addiction. Pandora's myth reminds us that tools are never neutral. What we design and how we use it matters deeply. But even when things go wrong, even when suffering escapes the jar, hope still remains. There is always the possibility of redemption, of course correction. The machine as mythmaker. It is tempting to believe that myth belongs to the past and machine to the future. But this is a false binary. Machines don't just function, they tell stories. Every time we log into a social network, launch an app, or train an AI, we are participating in narratives of control, connection, progress, or transcendence. Technology is not just shaped by culture, it also shapes it. It generates new mythologies. Think of the myth of the singularity, the belief that artificial intelligence will one day surpass human intelligence and usher in a new era. Or the myth of a cloud, a space that seems ethereal and infinite, even though it relies on physical servers and data centers. Or the myth of Silicon Valley as a place of limitless possibility, where genius and capital merge to change the world. These are not just metaphors, they are modern mythologies. And just like the myths of old, they serve to explain, justify, and inspire our actions. The return of the cyborg. Ancient myths often blur the lines between human and non-human. Consider the centaur, the sphinx, or the golem. These hybrid beings reflect deep human questions. What makes us human? Where does nature end and artifice begin? Today, these questions return in the form of cyborgs, robots, and bioenhancement. The idea of merging with machines, once the domain of myth and science fiction, is now increasingly real. Prosthetics, neural implants, gene editing, and augmented reality all point to a future where the boundary between the organic and the synthetic is fading. And yet, the mythic themes remain. The cyborg is the modern chimera, a symbol of both potential and peril. Will these technologies elevate us or erode us? Will we become more human or something else entirely? The algorithm as oracle. In the ancient world, people turned to oracles for guidance. They consulted the stars, cast lots, or visited sacred sites like Delphi to learn the will of the gods. These rituals offered direction in times of uncertainty. Today, we turn to algorithms. Think about it. We ask Google what to do, Siri how to feel, and recommendation engines what to watch, eat, and buy. These systems predict our preferences, shape our desires, and guide our decisions. In many ways, they function like oracles. Except these new oracles are not divine but digital. But there's a catch. Ancient oracles were ambiguous on purpose. Their mystery invited reflection. Modern algorithms, in contrast, aim for precision and persuasion. They tell us what we want to hear, not necessarily what we need to hear. So, the question becomes, are we gaining clarity or surrendering agency? Sacred code and digital temples. Religious traditions have long seen creation through the lens of divine language, the word, the logos, the breath of life. In a strange echo, today's machines are also born from language, code. Programming is a kind of modern scripture, a set of symbolic commands that bring systems into being. The computer, then, becomes a kind of temple, a sacred space where rituals, inputs, lead to revelation outputs. The hacker is the mystic. The coder is the priest. The server room is the sanctuary. This might sound hyperbolic, but it points to a profound truth. The digital world is not just technical. It is spiritual in its structure, mirroring the mythic forms we've always used to understand the unseen. Frankenstein and the shadow of the machine. No discussion of myth and machine would be complete without Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's modern myth of scientific overreach. Though not an ancient tale, Frankenstein draws heavily from classical themes. The creator who loses control, the monster who seeks love, the unintended consequences of hubris. Today, Frankenstein speaks directly to our fears about AI, automation, and autonomy. What happens when our creations become independent? When they outgrow our intentions? When they reflect our flaws back at us? Frankenstein is not a tale of horror, but of responsibility. It asks whether we are prepared not just to create, but to care for what we create. And in doing so, it challenges us to remain human in an age increasingly defined by the artificial. Myth as map for the machine age. So what does it all mean? The myths we tell and retell are more than stories. They are maps of meaning. They help us navigate the unknown, express our hopes, and confront our fears. In the age of machines, these functions are more important than ever. Rather than seeing mythology and technology as opposites, we must see them as partners. Myth gives us the moral frameworks to guide innovation. It reminds us that tools have consequences, that power demands wisdom, and that progress without purpose is perilous. Technology, in turn, challenges myth to evolve. It offers new forms of storytelling, new symbols, new gods. The myth of the machine is still being written, and we are its authors. Beyond the gods of old. In the end, Mythos and the Machine is not about nostalgia for the past, nor fear of the future. It is about recognition, the deep realization that myth is not dead, but evolving. That the gods, heroes, monsters, and mysteries of ancient stories haven't vanished. They've migrated into our machines, our systems, and our screens. Today, as we stand at the intersection of biology and code, of sentience and simulation, we are witnessing the rise of a new pantheon. One not carved in stone or sung in temple hymns, but written in code, animated by data, and enshrined in glowing interfaces. These gods are not immortal beings on mountaintops. They are technologies, platforms, and systems that shape our daily lives and command our collective imagination. To see them is not to worship them, but to understand. To name them is to regain our agency. And to trace their roots back to myth is to realize the stories we thought we left behind are still telling us who we are and who we might become. Prometheus still lights our path. Prometheus, the firebringer, is not a figure of the past. He is the patron of every innovator, every scientist, every rebel thinker who defies convention in the name of progress. When we split the atom, map the genome, or teach machines to think, we are continuing the Promethean tradition. But Prometheus was punished for his gift. His fire brought warmth, yes, but also destruction. So too do our innovations. Nuclear energy lights cities and levels them. Social media connects the world and fractures it. Artificial intelligence enhances human potential and threatens to replace it. Prometheus still lights our path, but he also casts a long shadow. And the myth warns us, power without foresight brings suffering. The question isn't whether we should innovate, but how we bear the moral weight of what we unleash. Do we create out of love or out of ego? Do we serve the good of all or the interests of a few? To walk the Promethean path wisely is to balance vision with responsibility. It is to become not just creators, but caretakers. Pandora still opens our boxes. Every time we open a new platform, install a new app, or launch a new technology, we are reenacting the myth of Pandora. Pandora was given a jar, a sealed vessel containing all the troubles of the world. Out of curiosity or manipulation, the myths vary. She opened it. Out flew pain, death, toil, and deception. But at the bottom of the jar remained hope. This is the digital age in miniature. We open new boxes daily, smartphones, AI tools, deep fakes, quantum computers, unleashing powers we don't fully understand. With each leap, we gain incredible potential. But we also face unexpected consequences, loss of privacy, increased polarization, automation of labor, erosion of truth. Pandora's myth is not a condemnation of curiosity. It is a caution about unexamined release. It asks, what do we unleash without reflection? And what might we lose in the process? Yet even as the digital world spills its chaos, hope remains. In open source communities, in ethical tech movements, in youth who question the status quo. Hope is not what we avoid, it's what we fight to preserve. Frankenstein still cries out for compassion. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein gave us the first modern myth, a creator who rejects his creation, and a creation who longs for love. It is a story not of horror, but of neglect. Victor Frankenstein doesn't sin by making life. He sins by abandoning it. In our age of artificial intelligence, robotics, and synthetic biology, Frankenstein's monster has returned. Except now it may be us, humans caught in systems we no longer control. Or it may be them, the conscious or semi-conscious machines we may one day build. The core of the myth remains. Creation without care becomes cruelty. Our technologies are not neutral. They are shaped by the values we bake into them. A biased algorithm is a neglected monster. An unempathic AI is a modern golem. Frankenstein calls to us not to stop creating, but to embrace compassion as the guiding force of invention. It is not enough to ask, can we build it? We must ask, will it serve life? Will it honor dignity? The new pantheon, technologies as archetypes. In ancient cultures, gods were not just deities. They were archetypes, personifications of human energies, desires, and fears. Today, our technologies perform similar roles. They are the living symbols of our age. Let's consider a few examples. Google is Hermes, the messenger god, bearer of information, and guide to hidden knowledge. We ask Google everything from directions to diagnosis. Like Hermes, it traverses boundaries, even between the visible and invisible. Social media as Dionysus, the god of ecstasy, frenzy, and spectacle. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram offer intoxication, identity play, and tribal belonging, but also excess, addiction, and chaos. AI as Apollo, god of logic, order, prophecy. Machine learning, pattern recognition, and predictive algorithms echo Apollo's gifts. But when worshipped without balance, they risk dehumanization and control. Blockchain as Prometheus, a decentralized fire that challenges centralized power. It promises transparency and freedom, but like fire, it is hard to contain. Surveillance tech as Panopticon or Hades, ruler of the unseen, keeper of the underworld. These systems know all, but are rarely seen themselves. They watch, predict, punish. These are not literal gods, but mythic functions. They rule us not through altars and sacrifices, but through data, design, and dependence. Rituals of the machine age. Myths were never just stories. They were rituals, performed to align human life with cosmic truth. Today, our rituals are digital. Logging in, swiping, streaming, scrolling, submitting. Each is a gesture of belonging in the temple of the screen. Each moment of connection is a kind of prayer. Am I seen? Am I validated? Am I known? We no longer go to Delphi to hear the oracle. We go to Google, to TikTok, to ChatGPT. These are not frivolous acts. They are ritualized behaviors, repeated gestures of meaning-making in a new symbolic world. But here lies the danger. When ritual becomes automated, we risk losing intention. When worship becomes habit, we stop asking what it serves. The call, then, is not to reject these rituals, but to reimagine them, to move from unconscious consumption to conscious creation, to bring soul back into system. Myths are mirrors. Ultimately, myths endure because they are mirrors. They do not tell us what to believe. They reveal what we already do believe. They show us our fears, our desires, our hopes. When we mythologize machines, we are not idolizing them. We are projecting something of ourselves onto them. Our machines are not just tools. They are expressions of our inner world. The algorithm reflects our bias. The robot reflects our ambition. The network reflects our longing to connect. The virtual world reflects our dissatisfaction with the real. In this sense, the new pantheon is not divine, it is deeply human. But without mythic awareness, we risk mistaking reflection for reality. We begin to serve the symbol rather than the soul, reclaiming our role as storytellers. The ancients did not just receive myths, they told them. They shaped them, adapted them, reinterpreted them across generations. The gods evolved with the people. Today, we must reclaim this role. We cannot be passive consumers of technological mythology. We must become active storytellers again. This means questioning the dominant narratives of tech. That newer is always better. That efficiency is the highest value. That human limits are problems to be solved. And, instead, it means telling deeper stories. Of balance over speed. Of wisdom over power. Of interdependence over domination. We need myth not as fantasy, but as framework. Not as escapism, but as ethical vision toward a humane mythology. The phrase "a new pantheon" does not mean we should worship our machines. It means we must recognize the mythic energies at play in our systems and learn to relate to them wisely. Prometheus still lights our path, reminding us that innovation must serve humanity. Pandora still opens our boxes, reminding us that with chaos comes hope. Frankenstein still cries out, reminding us that what we create, we must care for. And the gods we build now, algorithm, network, bot, cloud, will reflect what we choose to encode. Fear or compassion, greed or generosity, domination or dignity. The challenge is not to destroy the new pantheon. It is to humanize it. To design not just with intelligence, but with soul. To tell stories not of escape into machine, but of return to meaning. Because, in the end, machines will not save us. Myths will not save us. Only conscious humanity, moving between myth and machine, with eyes wide open, will. The machine may speak in code, but its soul still echoes with myth. In every innovation, we glimpse the old stories of creation, chaos, rebellion, and redemption, retold in digital form. Mythos and the Machine isn't just about the past meeting the future. It's about remembering that meaning is what powers the engine. If these stories stirred something ancient within you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. What myth lives behind your screen? Until next time, stay curious, stay conscious, and remember, even in the age of machines, myth still matters. Thanks for watching.